And back now to other breaking news of the day. Of course, we've been covering this for you. The Supreme Court hearing oral arguments this morning about whether a federal law overrides state laws when it comes to emergency abortions. Here's what we heard from Justice Sotomayor just this morning.
The medically accepted obligation of doctors when they have women with certain conditions that may not result in death, but more than likely will result in very serious medical conditions, including blindness for some, for others the loss of organs, for some chronic blood strokes. Idaho is saying, unless the doctor can say in good faith that this person's death is likely, as opposed to serious illness, they can't perform the abortion.
Joining us now, Alexis McGill-Johnson, President and CEO of Planned Parenthood Action Fund, which supports abortion rights. Thank you so much, Alexis, for being with us this morning. I just want to get your reaction first to what we've been hearing from the Supreme Court this hour.
Well, you know, I think many of them are asking the same question that we're asking. Why are we even here in this moment? Why are we gambling with patients' lives? Why are we asking whether or not a patient who is walking into an emergency room, seeking emergent care related to whatever they need, why are we asking whether or not providers are able to provide the life-saving or stabilizing care that they may need, including an abortion? I don't know if it's hatred of women. I don't know if it's hatred of pregnant people. I don't know. Honestly don't know why we are in this moment. But the idea that the state of Idaho would sue just to deny access to care in the most emergent of situations feels ludicrous to us.
What do you think the Supreme Court has as options here?
Look, I think the Supreme Court could ensure that those hospitals that receive access to federal funds should, in fact, follow this basic common sense law of EMTALA, which allows anyone who, you know, with the expectation of walking to an emergency room, be able to get the life-saving, stabilizing care that they need, up until including abortion. We're talking about, you know, patients who have preeclampsia, who may have, you know, who may end up with kidney failure. We're talking about patients whose very lives may be in danger. And we are talking about an emergent situation where providers have to make quick assessments about the patient's care, not just in that moment, but also what may happen in the moments after. And we're talking about, you know, communities that are already suffering. This is a country in many of these states that have the highest maternal mortality rates, and that we would be willing to allow these states to preempt a federal law just to get that life-affirming and life-saving care just is completely insane.
Alexis, I know you appeared alongside President Biden at a campaign stop in Florida yesterday. What was your message?
My message was we are not going to keep going back. We need to reelect President Biden and Vice President Harris. We need to ensure that they get a Senate majority and a House majority that will allow them to pass federal legislation, and to let everyone know that if we do not do that, we are going to go even further backwards with a national abortion ban that, you know, essentially former President Trump has you know, tried to walk back from, but we know where he stands on these issues. So it was really about rallying the troops and rallying our support behind President Biden Harris, because they have been an incredibly strong partner, even up until yesterday when they were enforcing the HIPAA rule around patients who are traveling and protecting their privacy.
Alexis McGill-Johnson, I thank you so much for being with us this morning. Appreciate your time.